Hello everyone, Berserkhead here, and welcome to this video in which I'm going to be talking about Total War DLC, Total War Attila, and I'm going to be giving you my opinion about the game, and I'm going to be talking about some of the problems that the game has as well. So why is this video so late? Well, a couple of reasons. Reason number one, I was actually abroad when I came back home. The game was out for almost a week, and I actually came back just to find out that they didn't actually send me the game, so I had to call the website that I ordered the game from. So they delivered it. I had to wait for the delivery. Then it turns out they didn't send me the code for the DLC, so I had to call them once again, which delayed things a great deal. So I got my hands on my copy of the game. I think it was a couple of days ago when I first played it. I wanted to do a first impressions video, but I think it's just too late for that, so instead I'm gonna be giving you this video in which I'm just gonna be talking about the game. I haven't played the game personally that much, but I've watched a lot of videos, a lot of people on YouTube playing it, gameplay and reviews and stuff like that. So I have pretty strong impressions of the game. I know what it's all about, and I'm not really good at it. I'm still not used to it, but still I have my opinion about the game, and I know what to say. So first of all, let's generalize. Do I like the game? Have I enjoyed my experience with it? And I'm gonna talk a little bit positive at the start. I do like the game. The game is good. It's a breath of fresh air for the Total War franchise. It adds a lot of new things actually. I didn't expect that much for it, and it actually exceeded my expectations. Not by a lot, but it still did, and I actually enjoyed the game a lot. I haven't spent that much time playing it, but pretty much every minute that I've played, I've enjoyed with it. And it's the game itself, I like it. The execution is decent. I wouldn't say great. And I like it a lot. I wouldn't say I love it, but still I like the core of the game and the game itself. However, I want to talk a little bit about the problems that the game has. So first of all, when it comes to bugs and glitches, I have encountered a couple, but nothing new actually. I didn't play the game on release, but as far as I know, the release was much better than the ROM 2 release. There were nearly as many bugs. I haven't really encountered, well, I have encountered one or two game-breaking bugs, but that's about it. It's really nothing compared to ROM 2. The game's not that buggy. The only bugs that I've encountered are like, the game's crashed a couple of times, and I also had the weird bug that actually existed in ROM 2. Back in the day when you have like 20 elephants charging you and all of a sudden they like half of them just die for no apparent reason, like you're not even shooting them, they just die. I don't know what causes that, but that's pretty much the only bug that I have encountered myself. I haven't heard of people having like really serious great game breaking bugs aside from performance, which is another thing that I want to talk about. The performance is not horrible, but it's not great either. So obviously it's more demanding than ROM 2, which is a normal thing. It's a newer game. It runs on a different version of the engine, so it's normal for it to be more demanding. However, I still experience some FPS drops, which might be my biggest problem with the game as of now. I don't get FPS drops all the time, but I get FPS drops in siege battles. I've heard people complain about getting FPS drops on the campaign map. A campaign map runs pretty alright for me. I run it on above 40, and I don't think I drop below 40 on the campaign map, so that runs pretty smooth for me. Land battles, pretty much the same thing. I haven't encountered many FPS drops on the campaign in land battles. I'm sorry, but when it comes to siege battles, I get pretty big FPS drops actually. I have moments when I'm running the game at like 50 FPS and all of a sudden it just drops down to 20. But these are things that are fixable, and I think they're releasing a patch really soon. So these are going to be things that are going to be fixed in the future. It was the same thing with ROM 2. It was a really badly optimized game, and in a month or two I think they improved the optimization. And as time went by, they improved it even more. So I think that's gonna be the case with Attila as well. And I'm hoping that they're gonna be working on that as well. There is an elephant in the room, and I want to talk about it. So what's the biggest problem that I have? These are the minor problems that I have. These are things that are gonna be fixed in the future. The game's gonna be improved a lot, I'm sure, and all of that is great. However, I have a bigger problem with the game, and that's the whole model that they're selling the DLC, and I think the game is overpriced, and I want to talk a little bit about it. So first of all, the price of the game. I don't know if I voiced my opinion on that earlier, because I made a video on Attila Total War back when it was released. And aside from that, I haven't been talking a lot about the game because, as I've mentioned a couple of times, I don't think that it's actually worth talking about the game without actually having played it. You know, even if you've seen preview footage and stuff like that, even if you have played a preview build of the game, it's still not representative of the final product. So it's not really worth talking about it and you know, giving your thoughts on it. So that's why I didn't talk a lot about Attila. But now that it's out, I want to talk about the price of the base game itself and what it includes. So a lot of people make the argument that it should be just an expansion for Rome 2, which I don't really agree with. Because take a look at the older Total War games. Rome 1 and Medieval 2, they have the expansions. Rome 2 has the Barbarian Invasion expansion, and Medieval 2 has Medieval 2 Kingdoms. Also, Shogun 2 has Fall of the Samurai. So if you want to compare these to Attila Total War, I don't think that it's actually that comparable. I think that Attila Total War is a game of itself, and sure, they're using the same engine, they're using a lot of the same game assets and stuff like that, but I think it should be a standalone. It shouldn't be a game per se, it shouldn't be a full price game, but it should be kind of like a standalone DLC. So having said all of that, is it worth the money? No, I still think that the price should have been a little bit lower. So basically, it could be a little bit different in different countries, but over here it's 40 euros for the full product. It was about 35 or 34 or something like that if you actually pre-order the game. That's how much I got it for. Plus the DLC, of course, which is another fundamental problem. I've talked about this in the past. Pre-order DLC is not a great practice, but it's something that people have been used to, and I can't really criticize SEGA for doing it because a lot of other games are doing it. It doesn't make it okay, but it's something that I can handle. So what do I think the game is worth? I think if they actually drop the price with about 10 euros more, 10 bucks, and made it about 30 euros, I think that would actually be worth it for a game like that. A lot of people say it's not a full price title. It is actually a full price title, because if I look back at some of the games that I've bought, these are AAA games. So for example, I've bought Assassin's Creed Unity and I've bought Assassin's Creed 3 on release date, and I bought them for the same prices, and these are AAA full price titles, and I got Attila Total War for the same amount of money. So I don't think that this argument is actually valid. And even if there are games that are full price AAA and they're a little bit more expensive than Attila, it's not a huge difference, so I don't think that argument is actually valid. When it comes to Rome 2, it was actually more expensive than most of the AAA games you get. It was about 10 euros more expensive. It's really not that much, but Rome 2 was overpriced in the first place, so comparing Total War Attila to Rome 2 is not really a great idea. That's all I'm gonna say about it. So yeah, that's about the price. I think the game should have been a little bit cheaper than that. And then, the biggest problem with it, something that I predicted years ago, a video that I made, I think it was in April 2013. I predicted that all the future Total War games are gonna be filled with DLC, and so far I've been right. They released a lot of DLC for Rome 2, but I think it's gonna get worse and worse actually over time, because the way things are looking right now, it's looking even worse with Attila Total War. Because let's look at it. You've got how many factions in general? You have 2 Roman factions, you got the Sassanid Empire, you got the Huns, you got 2 kingdoms that are essentially the same faction. I haven't found that much difference. And you've got 4 migrators, which makes a total of 11 factions, which I don't think is actually near enough. And I'm pretty sure that there were more playable factions when Rome 2 released. Granted, there might not be as many factions in Attila Total War in the final game with like all the DLC compared to Rome 2, but I still think that there should have been more playable factions. You got 14 if you actually pre-order the game, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't do it. And the other problem with it is that you already have 1 DLC out, and 1 DLC that should have been out, but because of the extremely bad reaction from the community, they actually delayed it with I think a couple of weeks. So I think it's coming out on March 5th. So we have 11 factions that are playable by default, in 2 weeks from now, so that makes about 3 weeks after the game was released, you have 6 factions that are added as a DLC, which if you do the pure math, 3 weeks after the game's released, 1/3 of the factions are already DLC, which I think is too much. It really is, and I don't think that you can actually make an argument against it. But that's something that I expected, and I like that the community actually have actually stopped defending SEGA for doing it. And by the way, I don't like when people blame CA for this. It's not really CA's fault, because look at it this way: CA are just doing the work. They're just developing the game, and they're doing whatever they're told by SEGA. SEGA are essentially CA's boss, and SEGA are the ones that are dealing with the release dates. They're the ones doing the marketing. They're the ones telling CA what kind of DLC they should develop, and they're the ones, you know, that tell them when the game and the DLC should be finished, and they're just giving them these release dates, and CA are just doing whatever they're told. So I don't think it's CA's fault. They're actually handling this pretty well, because they're taking a lot of shit without actually being responsible for it. They've released a couple of free DLCs in the past, and I think they're actually doing a decent job giving the extreme circumstances that they're given. They're giving extremely short periods of time to actually release a game, and also, as I've said, they're given a lot of shit by the community as well. So they're handling it pretty well. But you gotta realize that pretty much all the bad things that are happening to the Total War franchise are because of SEGA. I don't want to trash talk SEGA, and I don't want to say negative things about them, because they're one of the most anti-YouTube companies, and I can get in a lot of trouble because of it. So I don't want to talk bad about them, but let me give you a metaphor. I don't know why they're doing this to the Total War franchise, but this is basically what's going on. So you have this game that's, you know, it's a solid basis, and instead of trying to build upon it, and you know, you've got a loyal community, and instead of trying to improve it and actually make the community even bigger and more loyal and stuff like that by releasing better games, you decide to take a massive shit on it. That's essentially what they're doing, and they're doing it just to get a quick cash in. And I don't want to teach a multi-million, probably billion dollars company how to do their marketing, but in the long run, I don't think that this actually pays off. Sure, you're getting a lot of cash quickly, but in the long run, a lot of the community is actually going away and stepping away from the franchise, and a lot of people have stopped buying games and have stopped pre-ordering and buying DLC and stuff like that, and they're not doing themselves a favor. In fact, they're not doing anyone a favor. And I think that's pretty obvious. I don't even know why I'm mentioning it. People should have realized it by this point. Anyways, I like the game. I hope that there is going to be some sort of redemption in the end. I really hope that they're not going to go over the top once again with the DLC, but there are no signs of that happening anytime soon. So, I don't know. So yeah, these are my thoughts on Total War Attila. I used a little bit of strong language, which I don't usually do on my channel, but I hope I didn't offend anyone. Once again, I don't want to trash talk, and I don't want to do all of that, but you know, I get passionate about stuff like that. I get passionate about games that I really care about. And this is one of those franchises, and that's the thing that's annoying me the most. It's a good game that's going a bad route because of certain people wanting to get a quick cash in. That's really all I'm gonna say in this video, so see you next time.